Welcome everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima and I'm a life and love transformational coach and founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have a very special guest, Antia Boyd, and she's a magnetize the man expert. And today I am so excited because today we're talking about how to get a man to open up and share his feelings with you, because I know this is important, ladies. Sometimes men aren't as good at sharing their feelings, so she's going to share with you how to get a man to do that. But before she does, Antia, I would love for you to tell the audience a little bit about you and how you became a dating coach.
Hi, so I'm Antia Boyd, and I grew up in an emotionally absent household, an emotionally, like a very unavailable mother. And what I translated into, all the coping mechanisms I developed over the years from that, made me attract that exact same, an emotionally unavailable man, because how you grow up, the dynamic you have, translates directly into the dynamic you have with men. And so, I went to UC Berkeley, studied personality psychology, and hundreds of workshops and seminars later, hiring my only one-on-one mentor who helped me to break through my own vulnerability thresholds. We'll be talking about that. I attracted my loving husband, who, by the way, also is a dating coach, of now 4 years into my life.
Aw, and I know, and you guys are like the most beautiful couple. You're amazing.
You have a couple's crush on us.
I know. Well, Antia, can you share with ladies that are still single and they're dating or they may be in a relationship with a man that's not really open with his feelings and he's not vulnerable? How can a woman get him to open up more?
Yeah. So ladies, you go first. Okay. So what I see over and over again, that the women who come to me, the single successful women, highly accomplished, are like, well, he's not sharing his heart with me and he's not sharing anything about his childhood, or I feel like he's holding back. I'm like, well, how about you? How is your way of being, How comfortable are you to share something that's really vulnerable for you? And not like something you think is vulnerable, but something you feel really uncomfortable about, right? And how willing are you to share that and not look good, right? Because like we're women are so like, well, I'm going to share something as long as I'm still looking good. Like if I don't look good anymore, I hold back. And that's actually that's one vulnerability threshold that I invite those powerful women to, to really go into. Because every time when we have worked and talked to single men, because my husband works with single men, they always say, when they had a woman who was really emotionally available, meaning she was willing to be sad and cry in front of him, and she was also willing to lose her, in front of him, right? Completely get angry, furious, rage monster. Then he's like, wow, I can feel myself through her. Like I can access my emotional body through her that I otherwise, I couldn't. I can't even recognize it because it's such a blind spot for men, right? Because they emotionally, less connected, less complex, whatever you want to call it, but they don't have that muscle so strongly evolved. So that's what I tell women. I'm like, go into the emotion that you feel the most uncomfortable with.
So I just have to underline 100 times one of the things that you said, because it's actually very key. And I want to make sure women catch this about how you said it's not just sharing something vulnerable. It's about sharing something that's really uncomfortable. Like doesn't make you look good, because we're all about, I need to look good, especially with somebody new, right? We don't want them to think or judge us or think horrible things. And so that's very key. And can you give the ladies like maybe one or two examples of something that's really vulnerable that doesn't make you look good?
Oh, 100%. So 2 years ago, it was about 2 or 3 years ago. No, it was about a year after we got married. Or maybe we weren't even married, but I had this thought in my head with my husband, right? Where I was like, I'm just sick and tired. I'm just going to manipulate him. I'm just going to guilt trip him. I forgot what it was, something with groceries or something. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I didn't want to do something. And I was like, well, hold on 1 second. You know what I mean? Like, so I just like went to him and I said, hey, babe, I have to tell you something. Like, I just, my mind just really wanted to like, manipulate you right now, And he's like, oh, really? Like, how did I want to do that? And I was like, well, want to guilt trip you, and take advantage that you trust me, that you love me, and that you're so open, and you want to make me happy. So that's one instance where that was really uncomfortable, because he could have been like funny in that moment, but he could have later on being like, I can't trust her anymore, right? Like, she's this like part inside of her. But the opposite happened, which is why we talk about this. He totally opened up. He's like, one day he's like, I have this runner inside of me today. I don't know. I just want to like run away from it, from everything, from like, just like shared something really vulnerable, right? And out of that came our shadow ceremony that we do every year when we renew our vows, where we really acknowledge what's the most alive, that's like so uncomfortable, that like really could trigger our fear that like, oh my God, if the other person knows that, if they knew that I'm afraid to be trapped, or if they knew that I still feel insecure or not good enough, like, they would run, or they would leave, right?
Yeah, that's amazing that you shared that with him, because all I was thinking in my head was he could run. You risked everything. And so what the other part that I saw within you is that you trusted that this was the right thing to do and that he would still stay around.
Yeah, because it was more about trusting myself, that what I think, what I say, and what I do is in alignment. So it would have been totally out of alignment if I hadn't said anything.
Right.
And I did that. So I would break the integrity of the relationship. And, it's like it shrivels away after years, sometimes decades, when people eventually get divorced. But it's when you look back, it started at those like really small things where there was this like lack of complete transparency and authenticity.
Yeah. Okay. So what's another way a woman can get a man to totally open up and share his feelings?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, and again, I remember, it's like really being unattached to. So when you share something, so one story that comes to mind, that must have been like, I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever. It was like way before I met Brody. And I was really interested in this guy. And so, I was like, well, I could just hold out and just nothing happens. And I'm just sending all those mixed signals. Or I tell him. But I had to tell him in a way that was unattached. It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to tell him. And if he says no, I'm going to be devastated, right? But it was just no. I just like create a space where I felt really connected and attracted to him, and I told him that, and he had tears in his eyes, and it was so credible because he said he's never felt his emotions the way he had before. But I guarantee you it was because I was coming from a pure place versus coming from a place of agenda.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right? So that's the other piece too. It's like not only that we share our emotions, but also with what agenda and how we're sharing our emotions.
Right. That piece of being unattached to the outcome is so important too, because all too often, especially with strong, independent women that are control freaks, is that we try to think of, okay, well, if I say this, then this will happen and blah, blah, blah. And you just went in with the pure intention of just sharing, and whatever happens, happens, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what? So then he had already met his wife the 2 weeks prior. You know what I mean? Now they have 2 babies and everything. So, but it was great. It was great. We both cried. It was heart opening, everything, right? So again, and that showed me I didn't have an agenda. Mm-hmm. Because if I would have had an agenda, I would have been really upset.
Yeah, no, definitely. So what's your last tip on how to get a man to open up and share his feelings?
So the last tip is continue to be yourself. So last story, there was this guy, and he's like, you know what? You kiss too much. You hug too much. You're like, too much. You know what I mean? And, and I just said, well, that's who I am. So I didn't say take it or leave it, but I just said, well, this is it. So good to know, because I'm not changing, right? And he not only said, well, it's not that big of a deal, right? But he just really because I advocated my emotions so much, like how I felt and what I was being, that he opened up more. And he was like, wow. I mean, she risked like that. I could have said, yeah, okay, thanks for letting me know that you're too much, because then I'm out. So again, right, it's leaning in more when the survival part inside of us, the brainstem, the lizard brain, wants to pull back and be like, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, no, I don't need that many kisses. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so sorry, totally. So I was not bowing down. I was not like adjusting to him.
Well, and also what I see that was happening for you is you were being true to yourself and your feelings, and had you pulled back, you wouldn't be in alignment with yourself, and so then you would be holding back in other ways because you would feel like you're like walking on eggshells, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And ladies, let me tell you, this guy, he kept pursued me. He even went across country. He was calling me twice a week where he was and everything. So it's really amazing what happens when you stay true to yourself.
Yeah, that's very key. Instead of trying to pretzel yourself into being something that the man wants, right?
Totally, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, these have been some amazing tips. So, Antia, please tell our audience about your free gift.
So for the women who are like, I don't even know where to start or how to lean into vulnerability, I invite you to come on a Magnetize the Man clarity call with me, where we get crystal clear. What are your particular vulnerability thresholds that hold you back, that where you bounce back every single time and you're not breaking all the way through? And for that, hop on over to magnetizetheman.com and grab your slot as long as they last.
Awesome. So ladies, if you'd like Antia's free gift, you can either click below the video and go to her website, or if you're listening to the podcast, go to singleandstilettos.com and look for Antia's interview, and you'll see the link on her page and you can go get her free gift. So thanks everybody for joining us on the Single on Stilettos show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you would like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com, and if you'd like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. And if you would like to get our free gift, the Secrets About Men video series, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.